the purpose of this video is to show you how I arrived at the composition that I'm going to use when I'm doing my demonstration of the poppy field. Initially, I started by doing just a sketch. I was playing around with the idea, wanting to know what approach I should use, what it was going to look like. I want poppies in the foreground that will be my focal point, and then going back into the distance. And initially I was using a photograph that had trees and it had the mountain, a little bit of sky. And I thought that's what I was going to do, and then decided that I would change my mind. It wasn't what I wanted. So then what I did, first of all, you will have been sent a lot of photographs that I took at Meadowburn Farm of their poppies. This is one of them. This is facing in one direction where they have a cement planter that they start seedlings and a line of trees. And then, going back, it would be all that green with no sky. So I decided that that's what I was going to do. So your first step should be that you should take the time to look at the photographs and decide what you want as a composition. Do a little sketch and sort of combine things and put them together. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it just gives you that map and that plan that you can start out with. So you are going to consider, do I want some sky in there? Do I want background trees? Once you have that basic plan or the map, then we're ready to go to step 2. So I decided to take several of the photos and create a collage so that I'm a visual person. If you give me this, it's very difficult to imagine where I want to put a few big poppies and how I want to do it correctly and cause that right perspective. So this is one photograph. What I did, here's another one. I looked at all the photographs that I had, and I looked at that one and thought, well, poppies, they're really in focus. Here it's more impressionistic, where you would maybe put some in the foreground that have a little more detail, but they're not very detailed. I want poppies in the foreground that are detailed. So I decided to take that first photograph and this one and form a collage so that I wouldn't have to look back and forth between two photographs like this and say, all right, I'm going to get these in the foreground and these are going to be my middle ground. That's my background. And maybe not these are too large for that. So what I did, I took the second photograph and I printed it probably 5x7 or something like this. Is another poppy photograph, 5x7 or something like that. And I printed the first photograph, and then I took that 5x7 photograph and I pasted them on and positioned them. Now I cut them out. I didn't just cut that whole cluster out and just paste it on. I moved them around. You can see that I left some out, that I moved. I took these, I actually cut them out one by one over here and put them where I thought it would be a good composition. I took some of the smaller ones and cut them out and put them there. So I feel I'm very happy with my composition. I feel that I've accomplished what I want. I want these poppies to be in focus and just that beautiful, brilliant red color. And take your eye from here and form a good S curve. That's always eye pleasing. That's a composition type plan. So I have them coming here. Your eyes are looking here, taking you all the way through, and then coming back right here where it goes out into the background. So this is my plan. Now just suppose this photograph, when I printed it, actually almost came out square. And instead of doing a square format, you can if you want. If you wanted it, if you have a square canvas, this would make a beautiful 12 by 12 or 10 by 10, 8 by 8. I don't think I'd go any smaller than that. But certainly it could be a square. If I want to cut it down a little bit and just rearrange my plan, I can do, a vertical format and maybe a 9 by 12 or 11 by 14. I'm finding when I'm doing these, in the last one especially, that it was a little difficult to do it, the 12 by 16. Most likely I will do an 11 by 14 and find it easier, to reach over so that I'm not right in the camera. So the idea now is that I am going to send you all those photographs along with a short video, this video, and a few other things that are in it, so that you can, first of all, decide on your plan. You are welcome to just take this photograph and do your painting from that. I have another one that I printed in the Adobe. The colors didn't come out as clear, but here's a good idea of what it would look like, as a vertical. Here are those main poppies in there, and then it goes back and takes you back to the trees. Or if you did the trees and a little sky, I think by putting a little sky in there, it might get too busy. For me, what I intend to do is that background, I am not going to make it as vivid as it is here. I am going to gray it out so it takes your eye into the distance. So you can use the altered photo as a plan for your painting, or you can print several copies of the poppy paintings that I sent, or your own, and form a collage so that you can set it on your table or easel and be ready to paint. So I'm calling this part of the video composition. And the next part of the video is going to be the wash and the wipeout. This is why I wanted to have you do this early in the week so that we can start applying color on Friday. If I took the time to do this and then started to do the wiping out of the places where I want to go right back to the white of the canvas, so that these, especially right here, these particular poppies, so that when you put that red on there, it just shines. It's clean and bright. But that would take up so much time that you could do and prepare your canvas before Friday. Well, the next part of this video is probably going to be, at least the beginning of it is probably going to be the easiest part of the whole thing, just putting that wash on. But then we're going to start doing that wipeout. For your, what I did here is I just took a bit of transparent green, yellow green, and just got an idea of where I want to start my foreground poppies and how big I want them to be. You can do that just to get yourself started. Just carefully, very, very lightly with a transparent color. Viridian is transparent, but we're going to wipe out. So just be careful. It's probably going to be all covered with what I'm going to do. I'm using a fairly big brush for this. And I have Viridian, which is transparent, and transparent oxide red. So I'm taking some of my Gamsol and making a puddle on the palette. And I'm going to take those two colors and bring them into that fluid and make it very, very fluid, really, but still have enough color in it that it will work on the canvas. So now I'm taking it, and this is what I'm doing. Random, I'm not planning it. I don't want great big, I don't want very small strokes. I want it covered. And basically what I did have there did disappear. But at least if you do it in the beginning, if you do that little maybe area where you put it in and then wipe it out, so you know what you're going to do and how you're going to approach it and how big your poppies are going to be. So I am going this way and that way and every which way, because this is going to be part of the canvas that will have some portions that will not be covered at all with any paint. And when you're finished, it's going to look like you're looking through that field of poppies. So get the whole canvas covered. It takes a minute or two. If you don't like what you did, you can always wipe it off and start over. You don't want to do too much of that, but I want every bit of this canvas, which I decided, I don't know if I said that in the beginning, I did decide on a 9x12, which just is easier to do this first painting. If I wanted to take that then later and use that as a plan for something bigger, I can do that. But 9x12, I'm very comfortable with it. And I do believe that I'll get what I want as far as composition and a painting done. There are several ways that you can do what I want to do next. I think I took the rubber, what I want to try first. I'm taking that rubber tip Kemper tool, and I am going to do an outline drawing, just a little. Say that I have to let it dry a little to do that. So that's where my first poppy is going to be. Now I'm taking my paper towel, and wherever I'm going to have any of these poppies that are going to be that brilliant red, that nice clean red, I'm going to dip it in the Gamsol paper towel, and I'm going to wipe out where those poppies are going to be. You can almost shade it a little, but this also will give you the opportunity to compare, if the poppy is too big, if it's, not positioned right, you could take it, and I'll do it just to show you. If I said, no, that's not my plan, I can just right now go over it and start over. So I'm doing that. this whole, these are the ones that I'm going to wipe out. Anything else, I'm going to leave just like this. So I'm taking that Gamsol, wetting my paper towel, and I'm going to get the areas where I want that nice red. Take your time doing this. Don't just say, okay, there it is, and make a blob of blank canvas, but plan it well. As you're working, you'll have to move the towel on your finger, because now I have a spot that I used that wiped out the paint, and I'm going to do my next flower. So this one is a little bit higher, and I'm getting that one in there. Little edge here. So if you look at the direction, I'll use this. Look at how this goes sort of, you know, uphill, so to speak. This one, don't place them all on the same level. This one is a bigger poppy right here, and it's right here, I think. You don't have to really sweat it, because you can always get what you want in the end. You know, if you have to go over it or around it a little, very easy to do. But I'm trying to get it where it should be. Now behind that one, there's another little one back here, going uphill there and coming just, I think, a little bit beyond the middle. I don't know. I'm going to get that there. I see that this really does overlap. There's something behind it. It's a little one here. And then over here is another one. And I'm going to put that right about there. And then down here, trying to be careful not to make it smack in the middle. So it's coming over more. I'm going to put it right here. This is in the right in front of me. And here. I'm going to just stand back from that and decide what I did, if it's what I want. And then I will also want to do just a few of these right here. And you'll notice that they aren't detailed, and some of them are clustered together. And make sure you do that. I want to get, let's see, that's that. And I think I want one to be about here, getting a little bit smaller as it goes back, so I can shape that a little bit. You can do wipe out with a brush. This one comes like this. And I want to make sure I'm making them, as I'm working, I'm making some of them a little bigger. These are the focus ones, right? And back here, I think I will just lead you back over here a little bit, but I know that they'll be smaller. Then I want to come. So here's my S. It's coming here, and it's actually probably about here. I'm going to do this, and it's bringing your eye around and coming up, and I'm going to make sure that those in the end take you right on that curve. There'll be filling here. And then up here, I want to make sure that that I'm going to have that light green, the sunlight. The trees are forming a shadow, and then behind it you have this really nice area of light. So I don't have to wipe that out quite as down to the canvas as much as I did the other. But I just want to make sure that I remember that I want that back there. And I'm going to take a softer brush. Get that out. And then right up to here, see there's a dark area. See that dark area? So what I want to do is also wipe out this so that when I do the trees, right here will be shadow, and the field itself will end in the sunlight. The whole field is really in the sunlight. So I'm going to get that in there, just so I know that it's coming down and you're getting that. And taking it back into the distance. Now what I want to do is I'm just going to take this paper towel and carefully just get that edge softened so that you realize what I'm trying to do here. And so when I start it, I will get that light in there. So you can take your paper towel and just get some of that softened a little bit. And I think that's going to help in the end. And I'm going to also, I'm going to take my towel just so I have a light area on some of those trees up there in this initial background wash. I see over here, it's nice and light. Yeah, I don't want to do, it's actually really great, really. See, but what I'm doing now is helping. I'm just taking this Viva, I'm barely touching this canvas, really. And I'm looking at it and saying, all right, this is all leaves and things like that, weeds and other, actually there are irises in there. There are some areas where you have the pods, which I intend to show you how I'm going to accomplish that. But just this I'm just going to take and bring it down like that. So now when I look at it, I mean, I can take it, I could actually take that Viridian. This thing is just splayed, and I don't want a splayed brush. Just so I have an idea that I'm just getting that basic plan. I'm taking that green and the transparent oxide red, and just want to show you that's the shadow, and that those trees trunks come out of there. So wherever I think that I'm going to, and I want to be careful that I'm not doing it evenly spaced, and not all going straight up and down like a bunch of sticks. So this one here, this tree comes down into the shadows, goes up, and I'm starting that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as I said earlier, some of our lessons, I want to make sure I have 7. So I know that this is going to be very dark. And when I'm ready to work on it, it will be, but just I know now that I'm making these my trees. I will look at it, decide how much of the branches I'm going to put in there. All of it is coming right down into the shadow area. But now when you look at it, you can see here is the field of poppies. It just already is going to make it much easier when I start to paint to get in there what I want. It's amazing. I just think it's amazing when I look at it and say, all right, I know that I am going to put a little bit more shadow here. I'm just taking the same wash and a little bit more red. I just want to get this to come down more on this level. And I am leaving out that granite planter. All right, now I also want to wipe out some of the pods that are going to be, here's a pod. Look how the top part of it is that wonderful light grayish green, which we're going to get. And so I'm going to take let me try it with a brush. May not work with this. It's a very soft brush, but I know I want a pod there. I am going to do it with the towel. So what I'm doing, or you could do it, I could do it with a Q-tip. I think that's a good idea for this part. I'm taking a Q-tip. When I'm looking at this, I am already excited about painting this because a lot, I'm pleased with the composition. All right, so look at how the head of the pod is shaped. That's the light part. The rest, we know comes down like this, and there might be a little light there. And there's one. I want to look at how they come. This one face is, you see that more of the top. Here it's darker. So there is a pod, a seed pod coming right there. There's crossing over. And then down here, look, there's one. I'm going to put that in too. I like it. Way down, get some of those things on the edge. And then by these two, I think I'm going to put that one right here. Again, I want to be sure I'm not making them all the same size or all the same shape. And I might put something over here. But with the Q-tip, I think I'm just going to indicate some of those background, you know, the other poppies. Using the Q-tip is helping because this part of it is really way down to the white. It is. All this. Here. There's a little bit here. There's a cluster. But I'm taking the dry edge and then also the sort of wet edge of a Q-tip. It's just a wooden Q-tip that has a wooden tip. And I'm dipping it in my Gamsol and trying to establish that pattern, that S shape that I told you about. There might be some other poppies in between, but I'm getting the this part done. So here I come this way. I might go over that far, but then the eye is going to go back here, like that way, and lead us right back to the edge of the tree line in the grass. And then one other thing that I want in there really good is I'm going to take this stiffer brush that I have here and now, one thing you have to be careful of when you're doing the center of, we'll always paint the center of the flower first. And the stem always comes right under the center. So the stem is not going to be like over here, unless your center's there. But just so that we are able to make nice, clean, sunlit side of the stems. I'm cleaning out some of these areas so that it will just work wonderful. I might decide to put a suggestion of some of those irises in there. Once I do something this size, see, now I am using this brush. I will be able to, if I wish, to do a bigger one, but this helps. It helps to start out doing something like this. So I also want just places where some of them are going to come right off the edge of the canvas. They certainly do that in the photograph, and it will make it more realistic and more authentic, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think that's good. This one down here, I'm going to look for a poppy that is a little bit bigger and that we can focus on, you know, that will be right here. It's like we're standing, right? I was standing. There was a path, but standing there, you're looking across at them or down at them, but the ones that are closest to you will be bigger. So we don't want to make them humongous, but I do want to make them convincing and create that distance, that perspective that is taking you from from here and leading your eye all into the background. So in here, there will be leaves. That's another thing that I have found that I have done that is not right, is to add too much right in the beginning. So we're going to build it out. We're going to get that depth in there. We're going to just have a few leaves, not every single leaf that's in here, and have it part of that painting. So at this point, I think I'm happy with what I've done. I do want to make sure that I get this wiped out here. And that's how far you should get before Friday, because then we can start applying some of our color. I'm looking at it, as I told you, every time we paint it, I have to step back and I have to look at it. And I have to say, all right, what I see in the photograph that I like is there are a couple poppies right here that are pretty red and, you know, a little bigger than some of the others that are in between. And I want them in there, I do. And here. I think, you know, when I look at the photograph, I think that there were several different colors of poppies. They had, that place is like, I always, you know, I tried to get them to let me come again, but they're not even answering me. I guess they think I'm a nuisance. They don't want people on the property. Okay, so I am going to stop there before I do too much. All right, I want to just get something right here. So nothing, it's not all on one level. You'll see I made it go up and come around and do that S curve. This is here, this is a little higher, that's lower. So it will look like a field of flowers when we're done and we're ready for Friday. I will send you the video. I will send you all the photographs, the different plans that I had and that I worked on till I'm satisfied with what I've done. And I am. I'm very happy with this. I know that when I'm done, it's, at least I hope so, it will be what I planned. It's always good to have that plan there and not just start painting and hope that it comes out right. It's good to do a sketch. It was, for me, this really helped me to take that photograph and actually paste this on there so that when I do paint, I'm going to have that where I can see it and know that I have a composition that will work. So I'll see you on Friday. And if you have any trouble with this, just let me know and I will help you.